Hey, good morning, scholars. Happy Monday. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. Did you catch that Super Bowl game? Man, that was a great ball game, wasn't it? Hope your team came out on top. Hey, today's Monday, February the 8th. I've got some announcements for you. I also have a leadership lesson for you. So thanks for tuning in this morning as we start the new week together. Hey, I did want to announce some birthdays this week. I normally announce these on Fridays when I do the Scholar of the Week presentation, but I want to start announcing them on Mondays so you can celebrate with these scholars along the way. Hey, tomorrow, Trayshawn Norton and James Chandler have birthdays. Happy birthday to you guys. Looks like on Wednesday of this week, we have Bert Hurley and Jordan Adams. Happy birthday to you guys. On Thursday, Tatiana Robinson. Friday, Grace Good. Happy birthday. On Saturday, it's Quincy Long. And on Sunday, Valentine's Day, Lorenzo Wren Wallace. Happy birthday, guys. All right. Did want to remind all of our scholars that last week and continuing into this week, all of our scholars are participating in some MAP testing. So last Friday morning or afternoon, you should have been involved in a testing session, and you also have a testing session on Tuesday. So be sure you're checking in with your teachers and you know exactly what testing session you are involved in. Do your best on those. That helps us to know what interventions we need to provide. So be sure you're giving your best effort and taking part in those test sessions. Also, want to remind our 8th grade scholars the magnet season is wide open. So I hope you have attended some virtual events, and I hope you have narrowed it down to just a couple of schools that you are interested in applying for. And be sure to get those applications in. I believe the application deadline is coming up in early March. And we have 5 days of instruction this week, but next week you are off on Monday. So enjoy that. You have a 3-day weekend coming up. Hey, you guys know that our theme for this year has been finding the superhero within, and we spent a lot of time with like DC and Marvel characters, learning from those superheroes all that we can about leadership. In the new calendar year in 2021, we have shifted away from comic book characters and we have shifted to American heroes. And you may recall some of these American heroes that we have discussed. That we opened with Miss Caitlin Ohashi. You see her. She's an American gymnast, went to UCLA, scored a perfect 10. We talked about the joy that she had in her presentation and the effort that she put in to become an accomplished gymnast. Hank, the Hammer, Aaron, man, we can learn a lot from him. He broke Babe Ruth's record, his home run record, and went on to hit over 755 home runs. He's in the Hall of Fame. The Greensboro Four were some of our trailblazers that we discussed this past week for their willingness to take a risk in order to bring about change for others. And Jennifer King is exactly the same. She is the first African American female coach in the NFL, working for the Washington football team. So trying to bring you some individuals that you can learn from about leadership, and this week is no different. I want to share an individual with you that some of you may be familiar with, but perhaps some of you are not. She has been listed by Time Magazine as one of the most 100 most influential people. Now that's pretty important. When you think about leadership, leadership is having influence on others and influencing them in a positive way. This individual is one of the most top 100 influential people. I want to learn about her. I want you to know about her. In fact, her name is Misty Copeland, and we can learn a great deal from her. Let me tell you about her story. She has a fantastic story. So as a kid, she loved to like twirl and tumble around and cartwheels and backflips and all that stuff, but really didn't have any official training. But Misty was just always very active and enjoyed doing those things, but never had any dance classes or ballet classes. She came from a very difficult home life. Although her mom was originally a Chiefs cheerleader in the NFL, their family was really going through some hard times. So she didn't know her dad. They were living in a hotel with many of her siblings. She just had a very difficult home life. So she didn't have an opportunity to really have access to a lot of classes and instruction. But she began taking a free ballet and dance class at the Boys and Girls Club in a town called Gardenia, California. And some instructors ended up taking notice of her. In fact, the individual that's in this picture right here, her name is Cynthia Bradley. She takes notice of her and says, man, this young lady has a very special talent. So she had a very difficult childhood, but had an opportunity come her way when she met Cynthia Bradley. She began to take some formal training. Cynthia Bradley began to train her, and she developed this dream. And here's her dream, all right? She wanted to become the first African American ballet dancer for the American Ballet Theater. That had never happened before, but early on she established this dream. And although she was really, really talented, her mom basically told her, we can't afford these classes. I'm going to need you to quit ballet. But in fact, her instructor, Cynthia Bradley, said, you know what? I will host her. That means they had like a guardianship agreement where Misty would actually live with Cynthia Bradley during the week and participate in all these classes and training. So she began to take some classes. She began to go to some of these really important dance programs and receive official training. And she started applying to these ballet schools, right? She wanted to be the first African American ballet dancer in the American Ballet Theater. And she knew she had to go to these dance schools. She started applying, but she ends up getting denied. And they deny her for a variety of reasons. I'll say, first of all, she didn't look like most ballerinas, right? She's African American. Most ballerinas and people that have taken dance during this particular period of time are not African American. She was denied for that. She was denied because she didn't have what they call the right body type. She was denied because she was too old. They said by the time you're 13, you're too late to try to get into some of these classes. I want you to see her story and her reflection. This is Misty in an advertisement, and she is going to allow the letter that she received back from this dance company to be read aloud. And I want you to listen to what the school has to say about her and how she overcomes this.
Dear candidate, thank you for your application to our ballet academy. Unfortunately, you have not been accepted. You lack the right feet, Achilles tendons, turnout, torso length, and bust. You have the wrong body for ballet, and at 13, you are too old to be considered.
Hey, I love that advertisement. So I've entitled this week's lesson, I Will What I Want. I'm going to read that one more time. I will what I want. Think about what that word will means. Like will, when you think about it, is like this commitment to do something, to accomplish something. And these are in Misty's words. I will, whatever it is that I want to achieve, I will. So I'm going to use that as our saying for this week in our leadership lesson. So Misty went on to become the first African American ballet performer for the American Ballet Theater. So she did accomplish that goal. She's been described as the Jackie Robinson of American ballet because she broke through with that color barrier. And then multiple other individuals of color have had an opportunity to also join the American Ballet Theater as a result of her pioneering approach, of her trailblazer approach to achieving her goals. She's performed like lead roles in almost every notable ballet, including The Firebird and Swan Lake, which, look, I'm not a ballerina, but even I know those are really big roles. And so she has ultimately been extremely successful. She's not just successful because she's a great ballerina. She also, although she continues to serve as the principal performer, meaning she is the big performer for the American Ballet Theater, she's also written multiple children's books. The book that you see on display here is called Firebird, and this is where basically throughout this story, she teaches a young girl of color, about how to become a ballerina. She uses her own story to help this young lady overcome obstacles and achieve her dream as well. So I think one of the reasons that she's seen as one of these most influential people is not just because she can dance and twirl and contort her body in all those directions, it's because she's committed to helping other people achieve success as well. So today, she's a motivational speaker. She's performed with Prince. She has written her own memoir. She's created her own Barbie doll. She is sponsored by Seiko, like the watch company. She's sponsored by Under Armour, which is that brand that everybody loves. And she was named one of the athletes that have made the greatest impact on women's sports by ESPN. So certainly somebody worth knowing and worth learning from. What can we learn from her? So here's one of her quotes. Her quote says that you can do anything you want, even if you are being told negative things. Stay strong and find motivation. I love that quote. Stay strong and find motivation. So even if you're being told negative things, you can achieve anything you want to achieve. She says you can't listen to the crowd that says you can't. Instead, you have to listen to those positive voices. So I told you about Cynthia Bryant. That individual ended up being quoted as one of the most influential people in Misty's life because she brought her into her home. She provided training. She provided opportunity for her. And Misty says without that influence, she perhaps wouldn't have achieved her dream. So don't listen to the people that say you can't. Find those supportive individuals that say, absolutely, you can. Secondly, from Misty, we can learn your circumstances do not control your destiny. Think about that. She was living in a hotel with her mom and four siblings, and now she is one of the greatest ballerinas in American history. So your circumstances, your current conditions, all those things, they don't determine how far you can go. All right. So your circumstances do not control your destiny. You control it. And last but not least, she didn't begin working towards her life passion until she was 13 years old. Man, that's a great age to get started. There might be some 13-year-olds watching this presentation this morning. So be inspired by her today. Think about willing what you want. Set a goal. Find out what it is that you're passionate about, and then will yourself to accomplishing it. That's the leadership lesson for this week. Let's see how our house scholars did last week. We had 5 days of competition. Let's see who's in first place. Whoa! Are you telling me only 1 point separates Dynamis and Hegemon? What a close competition. Sabio not far behind in fourth, but this week goes to Nike House. Congratulations, Nike House. Hey, take just a moment and review the Leader's Creed. I have highlighted something specifically that connects with this week's lesson. It says, I am on a mission. I will what I want. I am on a mission. What is your mission? Well, in the creed, it says the mission is to elevate myself. I want to make myself, more intelligent, stronger academically, better leader, better socially. But I also want to help those in my community, and I want to help all of humanity. So be on a mission. All right. Hope you guys have a great week. Will what it is that you want, and let me know if I can do anything to help you out. Take care, guys.